Hello, hello again, everybody. Zach Attack is here, the Attack Sportz, on this Memorial Day Monday, May 25th, 2015. Alright, special Memorial Day edition of the Attack Sportz on this lovely, beautiful Monday. Saluting those who have served in the military, especially those who died while serving for us in the military. Agree or disagree on what they fight for. Salute the troops on this lovely Memorial Day Monday. Everyone's having a very happy and safe one today. Right here in Detroit, Michigan. It's been beautiful, very nice. It rained a little bit of a storm, about 30 minutes, but it's been nice for the majority of the day. So it's nice now. After a little bit of rain this afternoon, so there we go. Now, very good weekend for sports, especially in the world of UFC. As one of the most anticipated fight cards took place this past Saturday, despite having some hits on the main card, it still delivered the big impact we all thought it was going to be. UFC 187 this past Saturday. Now, I thought I wasn't going to be able to see UFC 187 because I had a gig on Saturday and running at a backup club, which I will be reviewing on my Attack line, so stay tuned for that. So I gigged my gig. I thought I was going to stay longer. This is a backup club. I thought it would be a lot more wild here. I thought I'd stay to like midnight or something. So then we will kneel towards the end of the show. Not a lot of people were there. I looked at the clock. It was 10 o'clock. I was like, oh, maybe make it to UFC. So I found a Hooters and we went to see UFC. We saw all the rounds of the last four. We missed the first two rounds of Joseph Benavidez against John Moraga. My dad. So we watched the last two rounds of Joseph Benavidez fight, and it was okay for what we saw. And he got the unanimous decision. It was a decent little fight. But then my favorite fight of the night was definitely on the main card, the second card fight, the main card, which was the fight of the night in the heavyweight division, Andrei Arlovski against Travis Brown. It was just a fucking slugfest. It's probably one of the best heavyweight fights I've seen recently. It was just a back and forth slugfest. And Andrei Arlovski, since he's come back, I thought he looked weak in his first fight I saw him back. He looked awesome this past Saturday. He just destroyed Travis Brown big time. He just annihilated him big time. And just a slug. It was an exciting fight. And with the victory, TKO victory in the first round of that Arlovski game, delivered some big punches. So it was pretty good. Then the next fight, probably my least favorite, Don Cerrone against John McAdizzi. Now, Don Cerrone fights have been not exciting lately. I'd call them fight not to lose fights. Now, the original card was supposed to feature Donald Cerrone against Khabib. I need to pronounce his name right. Khabib Nurmagomedov. We'll pronounce that anyway. And Khabib not injured, so it went from being probably a number one contenders fight to being a squasher. Cerrone didn't do shit in the first round. Second round. Like it's not an exciting fight. It was okay. Actually, not that exciting. It was more methodical. With a weird ending to the fight with John McAdizzi getting hit with a big punch by Cerrone, breaking his jaw. So he called the fight. It's kind of a weird ending, but Cerrone wins. And Cerrone is supposed to be number 3. That performance will not give you a title shot. Is it closed? Oh, my dad's going to a ball. Probably, I think they're open. I didn't see him open when I live in Washington. There's this ball downtown Washington called Brian Brew House. Check it out if you haven't got a chance yet. But that's running if it's open. I think it is. Now, after that Cerrone fight, on to the co-main event. Finally, after months of waiting and many injuries delaying this inevitable meeting, we finally had Chris Weidman against Vitor Belfort for the UFC Middleweight Championship. It was Weidman's first defense since his fight against Lyoto Machida back in July. And Weidman was just all over Vitor Belfort. Belfort did okay, he had some good shots in, but Weidman just nailed him with a big takedown and just pounded him on the ground, ending up with a TKO in the first round with a successful defense of his lightweight title, middleweight title, long division, for Chris Weidman. And Weidman even said on the microphone, if you are still a doubter, you must join my team now because I am silencing the doubters. He bound out Belfort, and he proved it this past Saturday as he defeated him in the first round TKO, successfully defending his title. in what was a beatdown on Belfort. Now on to our main event, which has been maligned ever since it was announced that John Bones Jones was stripped of his title and suspended following his hit-and-run incident. So the main event was changed, with Daniel Cormier fighting Anthony Rumble Johnson, who was scheduled to fight Bonesy. I think Bonesy and Johnson would have been a more exciting fight, but for what it was, his main event was pretty good. Johnson had some really good shots in early. He had a big punch in the first round, but Cormier pulled the GSP. He knew that Johnson is a vicious striker, and he felt it early. So he went for his Olympic wrestling roots. Took him down for most of the first and, of course, the second and the third round. He just took him down and tired him out by takedown, submission attempts, and ground and pound, ending up with a third round submission with a rear naked choke, submitting Johnson and making Cormier the new light heavyweight champion. First things first, he looked a whole lot better than his fight against Bonesy. Some people thought, oh man, he lost against Bonesy. Should not get another shot at the title after losing to Bonesy in 5 rounds. That's the thing. He went off 5 rounds. But he didn't look okay in that fight. He looked a whole lot better in this fight because he was the one with the advantage. He looked a lot more aggressive in my mind. With both these guys fighting for the title and now having one guy defend himself, and opponent Anderson Silva just danced around for 5 rounds, both guys were fighting for a title. So, and Cormier bought it. Of course, the biggest news came after Cormier's victory was a bad-mouthing from Ryan Bader crashing the post-fight press conference, bad-mouthing Cormier. These two were supposed to fight in a couple weeks on the UFC Fight Night in New Orleans until Cormier took the shot for the title against Johnson when the whole John Bones Jones thing happened. So there was a little bit of a commotion during that post-fight press conference. And I told you the Fight Night bonus went to a deserving fight, Andre Arlovski and Travis Brown. Performance of the night honors went to Daniel Cormier and Chris Weidman, the winners of the co-main and main. This is probably one of my favorite UFC pay-per-views I've seen in a while. Very exciting fights, a lot of finishes. I think every fight in the main card, minus the first fight, went to a finish. They finished. The first fight was the only unanimous decision. Never went to the judges past the first fight. So there you go. Great, exciting UFC 187 this past Saturday night. On to wrestling-wise. Now, there wasn't a new Impact Wrestling this past Friday. It was a repeat of Slammiversary from last year, which was kind of a bad sign that things were looking bad for TNA. It was already a rough week for them. They're moving to Wednesdays. Samoa Joe's now at NXT. And there was rumors about the weekend that in it, the TNA is getting canceled by the new network, Destination America, in September. While the ratings have not been spectacular, they're decent ratings, but Destination America wanted more ratings, and their advertisers that were normally advertised on their network, those that want to advertise for a wrestling show on their network. A wrestling show's not appealing to their advertisers, basically. So, Dixie Carter's denying it. There's been a lot of statements saying they denied it, but backstage people are saying that Dixie Carter's a fucking lying bitch. That Impact, it's like almost like the same thing what happened with the rumors with Impact America, when Impact Wrestling was getting canceled by Spike TV. They kept denying it for months and like, oh, it's happening. That's just probably gonna happen. So, who knows what the future holds with TNA now that another network's canceled them. After only a year on this Destination America, after September, we're going to once again look for a new network. With Jeff Jarrett's company going up and at him, a lot of people joining his global force, including AJ Styles, among others. And like I said, Joe joining NXT. We shall see what happens with TNA's future. A new episode is slated for this Friday, which will be the last Friday Impact. Because next week, they're going to Wednesdays. Now, on with WWE Raw preview for the night. The last one before Elimination Chamber. Wow. It's going to feel weird next couple weeks with only 2 weeks in between pay-per-views. You know, last one before Elimination Chamber, 2 weeks after Payback. Here we go, another one next week. I've been doing top 4, top 3. First time in weeks, I'm actually doing a proper top 5 questions that must be answered on tonight's final Raw before the pay-per-view on Sunday on the network. Question number 5, and we'll go down with the Entourage cast. Now, on the day that TNA Impact makes his return to Wednesdays on its new network, Entourage the movie, whether you want it or not, is coming out, and the cast will appear on Raw. Hopefully they're used minimal. Their appearance on Raw is minimum, and they don't impact characters. They don't get involved in character storylines, so we'll see how fun the Entourage cast will have tonight. Question number 4. We'll go down tonight as relationship between Lana and Dolph Ziggler continues. Finally, after weeks of anticipation and less speculation, Lana and Rusev broke up finally. We all knew the breakup was coming. The seeds were planted. And then Lana kissed Dolph Ziggler twice. So we'll see if there was a little bit more depth into their relationship tonight on Raw. Both Ziggler and Rusev are participating in the Elimination Chamber match for the vacated IC Championship this Sunday. So there's more intrigue to that match, that they're both in that competition. Question number 3. Will Kevin Owens show up to send more messages versus ones to John Cena? Now, Kevin Owens, the still NXT champion, following this past Wednesday's takeover Unstoppable, which is really good, by the way. Once again, the review is on my channel. Kevin Owens made his debut with John Cena last week. They will face off at the pay-per-view. I think it's for the U.S. Championship. I may be mistaken. But I think Owens should win that match. And I hope that Kevin Owens appears tonight. He wore a John Cena shirt coming out to the ring against Sami on the Wednesday pay-per-view. So he's ready for Cena. That he can't see him indeed. So hopefully we do see Owens tonight on Raw. So there you go. Question number 2. Will any last-minute matches will be made for the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view? It wouldn't even be a pre-show match. Being it's a pay-per-view only on the network, who knows if there even gonna be a pre-show. But what we got now is 2 chamber matches. The IC title match. Sheamus, Bad News Barrett, Rusev, R-Truth, Ryback, and Dolph Ziggler. And the tag team Elimination Chamber. 6 teams in that one. New Day, Los Matadores, Ascension, Lucha Dragons, 5-time players, and Tyson Kidd all. Plus, with Paige's return, we got ourselves a triple threat for the Women's Divas Championship involving Paige, Nikki Bella, and Naomi. I hope that Naomi finally becomes the Divas Champion. And of course, we got, the main event. Dean Ambrose against Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. The WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Which leads to question number 1. Will there be any more physical confrontations between Ambrose and Rollins? Now, Ambrose kind of egged the Authority into putting him in a title match at the request Seth Rollins' celebration party this past Monday, following his defeat of not just Ambrose, but Rollins' former Shield member Reigns, and of course Randy Orton in a Fatal 4-Way last week at Payback. So Ambrose crashed his party, even threatened to smash Seth's head on a bunch of cinder blocks like he did to him about a year ago. But Seth ended up standing tall with the pedigree, which he's using until he finds his move of his own. So I hate they got rid of the cuff stomp. So see what kind of physical altercation happens between those 2 and more tonight on Raw at 8, 7 Central on USA Network. That is it for the Atak Sportz for this day. Thank you again for watching. See you tonight for my Raw review. With that in mind, y'all been Atak for the sports news from Zach. Once again, have a happy and safe Memorial Day, everybody. See ya.